Hello and welcome back to the Eagle-Gryphon Games vlog, and today is a very important day in the world of gaming, as today would have been the 101st birthday of one of the greatest American game designers of all time, Sid Sackson. So this week's vlog will be dedicated to him as a 101st birthday party. Now if you're not familiar with Sid Sackson, I'll be giving you information about him in the designer interview section, as we'll be sharing his answers to questions from a 1969 interview. Then, we'll give you a sneak peek of something special that's tied to Sid Sackson. We'll then take a look at the new release of a classic deduction game, Sleuth, also a Sid Sackson title. And in the Eggs from the Vault segment, we'll take a look down memory lane of a huge amount of games designed by Sid Sackson that are still available today. Then we'll finish it off with a game giveaway. But first, in the Kickstarter Past, Present, and Future segment, let me first show you about a future Kickstarter that also had Sid Sackson's legacy tied right to it. A third quarter Kickstarter project is being planned for 6 by Sackson. Now this is a posthumous release of 6 previously unpublished Sackson games that we discovered by reading his unpublished journals and cross-referencing them at the Strong Museum Archives and Library in Rochester, New York. Now 6 by Sacksons will be published in 2 volumes with 3 games in each separately boxed volume, and will include card-based games, an abstract game, a party game, a strategic board game, Cinema, which has been developed by Emerson Matsuuchi, the designer of Century Spice Road, and a roll and write based on a classic well-known Sackson game. Much more will be revealed about 6 by Sackson on upcoming Eagle-Gryphon Games vlogs in the next months. In addition, we're contemplating further releases this year of a newer edition of Bazaar, possibly combining it in the same box with the classic Samarkand. And finally, even later in 2021, we're looking at the likely release of the abstract game Focus, also known as Domination, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary win of the Spiel des Jahres. Sid Sackson is thought by many to be the greatest American-born game designer. In 1974, he designed one of the very first roll-and-writes and called it The Great Races. In 1980, he designed the classic Press Your Luck game, Can't Stop. Eagle-Gryphon Games has integrated The Great Races and Can't Stop into Route 66, the Mother Road Edition. Now here's some car models that we're using for both wooden and metal variants of the cars, and the Kickstarter date is set for June 9th through the 24th. Sid Sackson was born on February 4th, 1920 in Chicago. He was a significant American board game designer, collector, and writer. At the time of his death, the Chicago-born game designer had a collection of over 18,000 games. Today, it's common to see videos of gamers standing in front of their wall of games, but Sid was doing this much before it was trendy, cool, or a vow for credibility. Much like his wall of games were before his time, his designs were also much before his time. Even today, his games hold up with the best designs any modern board game designer can come up with. His designs are clean, classic, and timeless. His most popular creation is the business game Acquire, but other popular games he designed include Can't Stop and Focus, also known as Domination, which won the Spiel des Jahres in 1981. Other notable works include his books, especially A Gamut of Games and A Card Games Around the World. Both titles include a large array of rules for games both new and old, and Sackson himself invented a number of the games covered by these works. For several years in the mid-1970s, Sid Sackson wrote a monthly column for Strategy and Tactics magazine called Sackson on Games, in which he actually reviewed games. Sackson was inducted into the Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Designs Hall of Fame in 2011, and he was honored as a famous game designer by being featured as the King of Diamonds in Flying Buffalo's 2011 Famous Game Designers Playing Card Deck. With board games of the modern era being built on top of the foundations of what came before, it's no doubt that Sid Sackson's influence is being felt even today. For this interview, the source material for Sid Sackson's answers can be found in his book A Gamut of Games, published in 1969 and still in print. Sackson's voice in this interview is that of Alex Kobe, graphic artist at Eagle-Gryphon Games.
A good game should be easy to learn, yet have infinite strategic possibilities, give you the chance to make choices, create interaction among players, and take a maximum of 1.5 hours to play. Even when the creator of a game is a matter of historical record, and this was rarely the case as of 1969, the vast majority of the players of that game couldn't care less. They are just not that interested in the origins of their game. This indifference is reflected in the attitude of scholars who, when writing about a civilization, will scrutinize every aspect in minute detail, but will dismiss the games played by that civilization as trivial, or going to the other extreme to be comprehended. In my opinion, which is certainly not unbiased, a game is a work of art as worthy of being signed as a painting, a book, or a musical composition. The inventor should have the right and the obligation to sign his work.
This has changed a lot since the first Spiel des Jahres was awarded in 1980. Sid Sackson won the second Spiel des Jahres ever awarded in 1981 for Focus, which we'll be doing a reissuing in the 40th anniversary edition later in 2021.
No gaming material devised by man has proven to be more versatile than the deck of cards. Earliest known references seem to indicate that the Chinese were using cards in the 10th century AD. Since their inception, thousands of games have been developed to make use of these wonderful pieces of pasteboard. Yet their possibilities, far from being exhausted, seem to be ever expanding.
We'll be publishing 2 little-known card games of Sid Sackson's as part of the 6 by Sackson that we just mentioned in the previous segment. One is called All My Socks, and it's based on All My Diamonds from Sackson's book of Gamut of Games. The other, called Banana Blitz, has never been published before, and we found it in the Sackson archives at the Strong Museum in Rochester, New York.
For many years I have collected games with the single-minded acquisitiveness of the confirmed hobbyist. The popular games are easy to come by, but of much greater challenge is the forgotten game. Most of these years have been spent in pursuit of such games. My search has led me to libraries, museums, secondhand bookstores, department stores, and out-of-the-way toy shops all over the US, Canada, and Europe. Often at the end of the trail, I find that the quarry was hardly worth the chase. But other times there is a prize that makes all the effort worthwhile. A game that, through unfortunate circumstances, was doomed to an untimely death, but one that eminently deserves to be revived.
Eagle-Gryphon Games has made a commitment to publish some of Sid Sackson's own forgotten games, and those will be appearing in the 6 by Sackson that was presented earlier in this video. Earlier in this vlog, we talked about the 6 by Sackson, and one of the games that will be in this is called Cinema, and it's been developed by Emerson Matsuuchi, designer of Century Spice Road. In Cinema, you play the role of a movie producer attempting to make the highest grossing movies. On your turn, you'll be selecting a script and hiring the talent needed to make the next big blockbuster hit. To do this, you'll have to negotiate with the other players at the table as they want to get their talent in your upcoming movie. After 3 rounds, the awards for Best Cinematic Features will be giving out, and the producer that manages to make the most money wins. Sleuth is a classic detective game where skillful questioning of opponents is needed as each player gathers and records evidence. The winner must use their powers of deduction and logic to identify the missing gem. The simplicity of the rules and the cards belies the depth of this game. In some cases, you see cards. In other cases, you only hear the number of cards that an opponent holds. The notation system you devise must be both flexible and reliable as you record both positive and negative answers, eliminate possibilities one by one, and arrive at the correct solution to the mystery. This new release of Sleuth has new graphics on the cards and rules which are more language neutral, including a new score pad and rules in French and German as well as English. In this week's Eagle-Gryphon Games from the Vault segment, we're featuring all of many Sid Sackson designed games that Eagle-Gryphon Games has produced over the past 15 years. On the Boss is a negotiation game where players are trying to be cut into deals if they're able to negotiate well enough. But watch out, because players can also play cards to overtake other investors' spots or even take over as the boss of the deal and turn the tables on everyone. It was the winner of the Best Family Game in 2004 by Games Magazine Awards, and it was nominated in 1994 for the Spiel des Jahres Game of the Year in Germany. The Boss, the card game, is a version of the Boss that's based on his original design of that game. It's still all about negotiation by creating and manipulating a deal so you can get the biggest piece of the action. If the cards don't go your way, spoil a deal and frustrate your opponents by turning the deal from big profits into a big loss. Can't Stop is the ultimate press your luck game where you'll try to win 3 of the 11 numbered columns as quickly as possible. You'll go for the dice again and again, only to risk losing it all on a single roll. Everyone likes to try just once more, and maybe once more. They just can't stop. Can you? It was a Spiel des Jahres Game of the Year nominee in 1982. Can't Stop Rolling Down the Highway is an expansion for Can't Stop that adds 72 tiles that are placed on the Can't Stop board, and if you stop on them, you enact different effects like traffic hazards or delays, detours, roundabouts, and fast lanes. Can't Stop Express is a re-implementation of Choice, or Einstein, which in turn is a re-implementation of the game's Solitaire dice, first published in 1969 in Sid Sackson's book, A Gamut of Games. It's a dice game for many geniuses who wish to play at the same time, where you need the courage to take risks, but also the ability to predict and plan in this roll-and-write style game. Monad is a fascinating and skillful card game where advanced planning is essential as each player attempts to strategically trade, buy, and leap their way from the lowest cards to the highest. In Venture, players follow in the footsteps of Carnegie and Rockefeller as they try to acquire lucrative conglomerates, manipulate vast holdings, and instigate proxy fights to gain control of key corporations from other players and trying to have the most profits in the end. Games of Art is a book of games including 7 classic challenging, educational, and fun games, with each including a short biography of the title artist, and each time you play the game, you'll be creating a work of art that you'll be tempted to frame and hang on your wall. In Bazaar, through skillful trading and retrading, each player attempts to gain the right combination of colored stones from the bank to purchase the wares displayed in the bazaar, with the values of the various wares being determined by the number of stones the purchaser holds following their transaction. Bowling Solitaire is a brilliant game that can be played in 5 to 10 minutes with the objective to knock down all 10 pins. You do this by drawing cards, which are bowling balls, and applying simple math to knock down as many pins as you can per frame. BuyWord is a game of words with a twist. It mixes basic mathematics, money management, and good old-fashioned word building in a simple yet elegant blend that keeps every player involved in every turn until the very end. You pay good hard cash to buy your letters and then form a word to sell it at a profit if you can. Earlier I showed you the Sid Sackson's classic deduction game, Sleuth, and you can win your very own copy of the Bookshelf series version. Now, 1 copy will be given away, and to enter, you simply just subscribe and comment below. That's it. Now, when commenting, we encourage you to let us know your favorite segment of the vlog this week and what you'd like to see in future vlogs. Now, you have 1 week from when this video is launched to enter. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's Eagle-Gryphon Games vlog, celebrating Sid Sackson with us, and you can click the playlist below to see all the past vlogs, and we'll see you next week.